Hello friends. I don't know about you guys, but I needed to have a nice relaxing day today. I just I just want to chill. Like, this has been a big week with a whole lot of stuff going on, and, well, I'm glad that, I'm really glad that we get to play something relaxing today. It's called The First Tree, and we're going to try it out and just have a good time together. Me? Cue it up now. Pun and pun. I do have my controller nearby. Pun? Yeah, I have my controller nearby in case this is going to be a controller game. I'm going in completely blind as usual. I have no idea what it's going to be. Oh, hello? There we go. But okay, even just this opening screen, even just this title screen, is just absolutely gorgeous. I'm digging this already. This is already going to be a fantastic time. Real quick, check the options. That's my actual resolution. Oh, hi, Mike. We can set anti-aliasing up. And let's see what we have here. This is just going to be a nice, comfy stream. It's absolutely stunning so far. Comfy winter. Where are we? We are the fox, right? And this is the camera behind it? Okay.
Are you awake? I thought I heard you get up.
Yeah, we just woke up.
I'm awake. Sorry, I just can't sleep.
Are you thinking about him?
Yeah, a bit. Usually get back to sleep, my love. I'm fine.
No, it's okay. What else is on your mind?
I don't know. It seems weird, but I had one of the most vivid dreams of my life. I saw a fox on a snowy mountain.
Oh, so
just
we're playing
looking
through the sky's
confused
dream?
and worried. Those eyes. I can't get those eyes out of my head. She was running in the windy snow, looking for something.
Do you think it has to do with you and what's been going on?
I don't know. It was just a dream, Rachel. They're not meant to make sense. A lot's happened the past couple days, that's all.
Dreams don't make sense, but
Well,
sometimes
if
they're a
you're
reflection of
not
your
going to
mind.
sleep anyway, you should tell me. I want to hear.
All right.
Dreams aren't necessarily... Oh, okay, so... That's fair. Yeah, dreams aren't inherently meaningful, but they are sort of a reflection of your mental state when you go to bed, or something in there. That doesn't mean that all dreams are always important or always, mean something. But I also don't think it's possible for a dream to come completely, not to have some sort of reflection in some facet. That doesn't, and again, that doesn't mean that you have to follow it. That doesn't mean that you are going to find a hidden truth in there. Just that the dreams come from your brain. It's the same brain that you have when you're awake. That's sort of a Jungian philosophy, which is, is kind of my preferred philosophical style, or psychological interpretation. And we have double jumps. Oh, we have bonus jumps. So, yeah. According to the dream, we, and our pretty eyes, pretty fox eyes, are just exploring and looking around, being confused. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and stay true to the dream. We're going to try and do whatever the narration tells us we're supposed to. Well, whatever the narration tells us is true. I'm not going to Stanley Parable this and start doing a whole bunch of Oh, I cannot jump unless I'm... Okay. I'm not going to try and Stanley Parallel this and try to break it, because, well, this seems like a comfy and relaxing time, and that's what I'm here for. Also, I believe this entire game was... Oh, I thought... Okay. I believe this entire game was made by one person. I actually added them on Twitter. I don't know why. I just saw that it was just one person. I was like, oh, cool. What's this? That looks... Oh, Willy. So that's a tent for sure. But it's a flattened tent. It looks almost like it's a photogrammy of an aerial tent that was just sort of laid flat here. Interesting choice. Now, why would that be there? I guess why, I mean, I guess asking why... So I ask why a lot in my streams, because usually I'm trying to dig into the lore, trying to understand both what the developer intended in the world and what the developer didn't intend, but still put in anyways. That's what you see a lot in the, you know, Bloodborne and Soma and other games like that, and we'll see a lot more of that in the future. But this is explicitly a dream, and not like a inherently meaningful dream like like Bloodborne. So we're just going to vibe. We're just going to chill, as we are meant to do. These grasp are 2D textures, and there's a stylistic choice here. They chose to leave them as 2D textures and not have them track the camera, but just have them sort of flitter around. They didn't put in two textures horizontal to each other to give a illusion of depth. It's just, no, these are just dream things. There's nothing to worry about. Just enjoy the dream. Hey, Mithy. Actually, there's a question. Redefine Game Dev, how do you want me to refer to you? Because I know you by like 3 different names, and I don't actually know how you want me to refer to you, both on streams and on Twitter. My only complaint on this is that it has a lot of invisible walls, but again, that's not inherently wrong for the experience. The core experience is one of wandering, and if you hit an invisible wall, you just turn and keep on moving. Part of my native instinct is to go into every nook and see if I can find an out-of-bounds break glitch, just because, well, games have sort of bred that into me, right? Like, either through speedrunning mentality or through... Oh, shiny stuff. Let's go see shiny stuff. Either through speedrunning mentality or through...
Fox looked high and low, searching for any sign of her cubs.
Oh,
Points of light showed the way to this ancient tree. It was as if each one had a story to tell, all their own. The land was trying to tell my story, too. I felt like I was right behind her the whole time.
Now that's interesting. You don't see a lot of games call out the camera work. I genuinely can't think of a game that didn't just take the camera for granted in years. But no, the camera, our visible camera where we are, is explicitly what the dreamer is seeing. That's a cool choice. Look at that cloud. These points of lights, can we collect them? Oh, we can. Okay, so the points of lights are coins. This is a coin road. This is a coin path. Effectively. Coin paths are one of the longest honored traditions in game design. And I like how far away you can see them. That's fair. Okay. I will call you Redefined. I like the little like, this is a lot of little touches in here. Like, on the broad strokes, like, this map design is very simple. You know, simple bump mapping, simple elevation tools on the trees. But the simplicity actually with the cell shading and with the sparseness of the texturing here actually works in its favor. The sparseness, the simplicity, the beauty of it is not detracted by that. And that's like something that I think a lot of smaller dev teams need to embrace. Is, if you're a small team, don't try to be a big team. Work in the context of the size of your team to make the best game for your team size. So here we have... I'm seeing this as an allusion to stuff that this Dreamer... I'm just going to call him the Dreamer for now. I think they could give him a name, but I'm going to go call him the Dreamer. We're seeing allusions to what I would call their childhood. That's a childhood playground toy from earlier era, before we saw a camping tent, which I certainly did a lot more camping when I was younger than that present. One. Nice color palette. Is this... Yeah, and that's actual lighting effects. That's actual lighting effects, not just texturing. Ah. Ooh, more... There's a sparkly bit up there. Oh, is that... That looks interesting. It's a difficult thing to do, to make something look... Yeah, it is. I did see that in the tags as walking simulator. But that suits me well. Like I said before, I have 2 days playing Soma, I had a day playing Resident Evil, and tomorrow I'm playing Hacking League of Legends for the first time. I've never played League before. So, a nice, super relaxing game, I'm here for that. Just, we're gonna walk in and we're gonna collect a bunch of jams. Oh!
Usually those kids would leave me alone, but somehow they could tell I was different. They made fun of how far away I lived. They called my dad a sourdough. I was a blabbermouth as a kid, telling my dad stories I made up for hours. But after that show and tell, I didn't tell him much anymore.
Oh.
He didn't know exactly what was wrong, but his best guess was that the toys he carved weren't cool enough.
Oh, that he carved?
He carved me a tank, and tried to tell me what it was like to be in a real tank as a serviceman.
I didn't know your dad was in the military.
Yeah, in the army. The sad thing is that I'd pretty much forgotten until just now. There's so much I still don't know about him.
I'm sorry. He knows how much you love him. You're going to see him again soon, and have some closure, I'm sure.
Closure. So yeah, this is another... Now it's explicit in the text. This is another thing about having a childhood and seeing a piece of a childhood. And I feel where that's coming from. The pieces of your childhood you don't always reflect upon. I want everyone in chat right now, or anyone watching this on YouTube right now, pause and think of something from your childhood that would otherwise just be inconsequential in your day-to-day life. Just like, maybe there was some flower that you saw one day, maybe there was just some day where you sat down and ate a piece of grass, or, you know, threw a rock at a tree. And remember that those moments have value. Those moments help shape who you are. And you're pretty great now, so that must have been pretty important then, too. That made you who you are now. Do I think this game would sell well now? I mean, okay, that's a loaded question, and I want to answer the unspoken question first. And that's, can a game like this be made with a profit motivation? And I would argue no. I think that a game like this has to come from the heart, and I think a game like this will sell well only if it's genuine and if it's from the heart. I think that a game like this would do well on Steam, but I don't think that anybody making a game intentionally for profit motivations would be capable of making a game like this. At least, on some level, that would prove difficult, right? At least on some level, you'd be trying to think about what you could do to make it more engaging or playable or marketable, literally marketable. And, well, can you tell a wholesome story? Like, well, I guess this is leading to the other question of, like, are Disney movies art? Can something that's made by, you know, with the backhand of Katzenberg be considered art itself. And now I'm rethinking what I just said a moment ago. I mean, you can obviously there are pieces of art that are made for corporation, you know, for corporate purposes, for profit, that are still valid pieces of artwork. But there is a purity that exists in a game like this as it stands right now that I don't think somebody who had a profit like this. EA would never release this game, right? Like, this kind of game wouldn't be released by Square Enix, not without some sort of core gameplay incentive designed into it. So I really do think that a game like this would do well now, but you have to be making it because it has to be a project of passion, you know. Something like this has to be something that you want to make because you want to make it, and if it comes there and it has that level of genuine interest in it, I do think it would do very well. Now we're digging more of the past.
Do you remember what my dad did for a living?
Wasn't he like a lumberjack?
Oh, we're supposed to find this.
That's one way of putting it. If wood was a canvas, then a carving knife was his paintbrush. Even after working a 50-hour week, even after his hands were more splinters than skin, he would bring home the nicest piece of Alaskan weeping cedar and make me toys. That wooden train was the first toy I can remember, and I loved it. I just knew from a young age I was going to be a lumberjack, like my father.
That's a really cute story. Kojima released this walking simulator after he made, what, $30 million of profit? That's something that you also see fairly often. Oh. Joe, that's right, his name was Joseph. Joe. That is another thing you see often, is that if you want to make a project of passion for a studio, you need to prove to that studio first by making them a economic success. You saw it in, what was it? Treasure Island. Treasure Island was a project of passion. Because they made Little Mermaid, they were allowed to. Hey, Garlic. Yeah, we're just having a good, wholesome game, talking about, you know, good, wholesome things. Like game design. And capitalism, apparently, but okay, I should probably focus more on wholesome stuff then. But yeah, if you are working for a large studio and you want to have your project of passion made, you kind of need to prove yourself first by making something else for them to let them greenlight your actual thing that you want to make. But if you're a small independent developer, you can just do. There's a difference between somebody making an advertisement for Red Bull and someone putting a paintbrush to their canvas because that's what brings them joy. You know, I didn't check. I wonder if this game has achievements. Like, it seems antithetical to the game's existence from what we see so far. But there's a little part of me that wonders if it's there. Not because I want it, not because I want to get them, but just because I wonder if it exists. Did the creator make this and say, you know what? I'm going to add achievements to this just to what? Would it enhance the experience? Would it detract from the experience? I can't confidently say either one of those is true. Heck. Am I changing the experience now by trying to force myself to get that, as opposed to just saying, well, I tried twice, maybe I should even move on. Oh yeah, bills need to be paid. 15. So let's see then. Yeah. We are ostensibly looking for our children. But... yeah, we're looking for our cubs, right? That's what they said before? Or kits. Kits, because it's a fox, so it'd be a kit, not a cub. Right? This is another... what is that? That's a okay, that's another reference to this person's father. So, something is going on with this person's father. They're not deceased, because the game explicitly said you'll see him again soon. So he was in Army. Maybe he's just under deployment? We don't have a good grasp on the age of the person speaking. So we can't really tell if the father would still be in deployment or active duty. But definitely something's going on. This guy is worried about his father and needs some closure with his father. But was also reassured... Oh. Now we have a safe lean-to. We'll find out as we continue. I feel like we'll probably just play this whole game tonight unless something goes amiss. Have a nice chill stream with Chill Fox. Oh, we have... Again, when's the last time you ate? Well, okay, I guess right now is a bad time to ask this because of, you know, other reasons. But, like, a fancy polka dot outdoor table... Oh, I missed one back there. Outdoor table isn't something that you eat, that you use as much as an adult. Likewise, a slide. Though I will say, there's nothing stopping you. Just think about that for a brief moment. There's nothing stopping you. I'll go all the way back to that one, sure. There's nothing stopping you. Sometimes, I will go to a park and just sit on the swings. Oh, where'd it go? Ah, there it is. And just, you know, swing. It's relaxing and honestly meditative in a way that you miss out on when you're older and don't think about, that you forget how, if not important, how valuable those moments can be. Because we are always moving. And, well, that's fair. I mean, I have to keep moving. Like, if I'm not accomplishing things, then I feel guilty. I genuinely feel a guilt in my heart that I'm not being productive, that I'm not, well, either doing, learning, or creating. So I don't think it's, and I don't think that's a bad thing, not inherently, but it can be a bad thing when it causes you to forget about a desk and what some other kid in a previous year wrote on it. It can be a bad thing when you remember the muscle memory. Reach back into your school desk right now, the one that you like this that you couldn't see into, and think about where you kept your pencil in that desk. Think about where the eraser was. If you never shared the desk, then think about what think about what you left in the desk from day to day. If you did share the desk, think about what somebody else left in the desk one day. Like, just moments like that, you know? If I wasn't playing this game, I also would not be thinking about them. I would just have let those moments pass by. Wooden toys. Wooden toys. What have us here?
As a kid, did you ever do show and tell in your class?
Oh,
Yeah, I think I only did it once, when I was in the 4th grade. You know how my life was around then. I wanted to show my class what helped pass the time and distracted me. So I brought a dozen paper cranes I had made. I think I told everyone how badly I wanted to be a bird and fly, embarrassingly enough.
Don't be embarrassed. Every kid wants to fly. For me, it was another toy from my dad, a wooden boat. I remember guarding it so carefully in my hands as I walked into class. When I sat down, a group of boys immediately made fun of it.
Oh.
They asked which trash can I found it in, or why an ugly log was my favorite toy. When I got up, I didn't even want to tell them my dad had carved it. I said it was a joke gift my friend had given me.
Kids can be so cruel.
Some of them are. I shouldn't have let them get to me, but it did. It's amazing we bounced back at all.
That's a valid sadness. Kids can be terrible, and we let them slide because they don't have the emotional maturity to understand that they're being terrible. But I think that's being unfair, well, to everybody involved. Oh, can I hunt? Bunny, bunny, bunny. Oh, I got close enough to click it and it squeaked. I think that's all I can do because I don't. That's what it did. Ah, I had a very similar experience actually. I brought in. Oh, that was just a snow. Wait, what? Looks like there's something there. There's footprints. Oh no, there's just mine. I brought in rocks. I had just a collection of neat rocks that I found. A collection of rocks that I thought were particularly pretty or interesting, because when I was out, you know, looking at stuff, when I was out just relaxing, you know, outside, I would find something and ascribe meaning to it. Like, that would be a rock that I enjoyed. Yes, and yes, you can all point and laugh at the kobold for collecting shiny rocks, but it's true. And I got similar insults. Like, oh, you're supposed to bring something important to you, and I really just had to stare and say, this rock is important to me. I found it. I like it. I think it has a really neat shape, and I've rubbed against it so often that there's a slight groove in it from my finger. So, there is a importance in it to me. But because what was important to me wasn't important to the other kids, they didn't value it. Now that's fine. You don't have to value what's important to me, but you should respect it. If you don't think what's important to me is important to you, that's fine. It doesn't make it less important to me, though. And just, you know, that's important. Think about that for a moment. Anyways, I show off my rocks, and I think I showed off a feather that I found. And I think the teacher asked me, you know, what kind of bird the feather was from. And I told her I don't know. Because I didn't. And that wasn't what was important to me. What was important is that I found a cool feather. It had a little bit of yellow in it. What was important was the fact that I found a cool feather. It didn't matter what it was from. It was my feather. It was my feather and I loved it. These little moments from your childhood. And is there another thing? Yeah, there's definitely a thing over it. Yeah, I can see it. I thought I explored that part of the map, but I'll go back. We're chilling. And yeah, I can see it through. You can see it sparkling through the trees for a few moments, which I'm really glad they did. They have the reflective part attached to the object not be obscured by anything intervening. So right there, I can see it, and then I can see it through the ground for just long enough to remind myself, to ensure myself that yes, it's there. Although I wonder if that's an artifact. Like, maybe that's not even intentional, but I like the effect it creates, regardless. Intentionality is another interesting thing in games, just in games in general. The difference between what you see that is important to you, that you meant to put in the game, and not. I mean, there's a lot of unintentional mechanics that can become core. Since I'm playing League tomorrow, I will mention Dota. There's mechanics in that game that were completely unintentional. You were never supposed to be able to attack your own units. The initial dev team didn't really think about that, but as they made the game and as they released the game, they realized, wait a minute, this is a weirdly important and interesting part of the core design. And it worked, and they kept it. We have another wooden toy. Ah, let's return. Pon. I wonder if this landscape is based off of the landscape that the designer experienced as a child, or if it's just based off of a general concept of an idea of land. Everything else in the story is about something that they saw as a kid, so I wonder, I suspect at least, that this is in some way a reflection upon that childhood. Maybe not a super important one. I mean, I'm overthinking this, I know. I should just be relaxing and playing. But there's two problems with that. The first is, well, I'm streaming. I have to fill dead air. It's true though, like, I genuinely feel a need, you know, to make sure that there's something interesting going on. I hate clicking on to watch a stream and just having somebody playing a game with dead silence. It's just like, why is that a thing? Why? If I'm clicking on your stream, I want to see the game, yes, but I also want to see you. I want to see what you're thinking and what your brain meat is doing.
The older I got, the more I withdrew.
Aww.
I asked myself, why talk to anybody anyway? Why bother when I'm happy by myself? I started drawing a lot, mostly animals I saw in the woods by my home. I then imagined designing my own hideouts with things like TVs and pantries full of chips and cookies. I think that idea of leaving home and drawing blueprints started my career. I found a lot of solace in that.
I'm not surprised, but I did the same thing, you know? There's something special about having a place to call your own.
And now look at us. Well, if you count renting in an overpriced city.
It's as close as we can get for now.
But yeah, think about your childhood and, you know, would your childhood self be proud of who you are now? And, well, there's two value judgments that come with that. Ooh, no, heck. Oh, okay, we're down here now. Would your childhood self be proud of who you are now? And is that a good thing or a bad thing? Have you grown as a person, and you don't, what your childhood self would have thought is no longer important to you? Or have you grown as a person, and what your childhood self would have thought of you is no longer, is bad somehow? Maybe the way you used to think about yourself, you've realized the flaws in that thinking? I want that so much though. Or maybe the other way around. Maybe your childhood self would be proud of you. And then there's two sides of that as well, isn't there? Maybe your childhood self would be proud of you. And you should be proud of yourself, because the self that you saw in yourself as a child was a good person, was a good accomplishment, was something worthy of love and care. But is there a danger there? Is there the idea of saying, well, maybe what I thought of myself, what I thought I would become as a child, I would love now, but I was a dumb child and I shouldn't have thought that? I don't know. I think that who I was as a child would be proud of who I am. For the good reasons, that is. Or at least I'd like to believe that. Part of me thinks... Oh. Ooh. Part of me wonders. Things. Ooh, maybe... Oh, come. There's definitely an enticement to just playing the entire game on walking pace and just taking it in. But I like this pace too. The world's big enough that I don't feel I'm missing out by speed walking. Let's check up here first. But yeah. I wonder who I guess if I met myself as a child, I would want to give myself so many advices, so many warnings, so many criticisms to warn them of who I would become and so many thoughts that I needed to reject if I wanted to become happier in the future. But I also wouldn't want to take away my childhood, because it made me who I am now. And those trials I had to overcome, if I had a cheat sheet, would they have been less meaningful to me?
My teenage years were
Might have
full
been.
of sketching, angst, and trouble. I wasn't popular or unpopular. Maybe just forgettable. I guess that gave me a sense of freedom, so I hung out with crazy kids, doing crazy things, even though I mostly just watched the chaos ensue. We did it all. Put fireworks in mailboxes, hide roadkill in people's garages, break windows of the barber shop in Anchorage. My dad was
Alaska.
furious, but he was so busy working he couldn't do much to stop me from going out.
I think being an adult means there's no one to stop you making hard decisions. He had to make a living, and he couldn't be in two places at once.
Yeah, I realize that now. But at the time, I was sure he was more interested in growing his business than what was going on with me.
Perhaps. Perhaps. But what is the job of a parent? Is it the parent's job to be there every moment for to build their child, or is a parent allowed to have their own life as well? I mean, is it a value judgment on a parent if they want to still progress as their own person? That's a difficult question. It's a very difficult question. Not one that I have an answer for. There. Now we're up here. We have more stuff to do down there, but let's see what's up here. Is there another way up here, or is that just what we had to do? I kind of felt like I did a little bit of a bad by trying to mash my head into the wall until I got up here. I just don't know if that's intended. Okay, we're gonna go back down first. That's a new color. We haven't seen a purple yet. Maybe this is... Oh, that empowers our next jump. That's how we're supposed to get up there back there. There we go. Okay, a little bit. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Ah! Okay, so they'll stay with us until we jump. Otter Lake. This could even be based off of an actual dream, couldn't it? Okay, so we have effectively a triple jump as long as we have the little flutterbies.
He was working another late night, and my friends were over, saying how bored they were and how they had come all the way out to my house for nothing. One of them mentioned how that old, ugly beyond belief truck was still in the garage, and how we should take it for a spin. I was only 15, so I kind of fought it for a while. The next thing I knew, we were careening around the mountain path,
Oh, jeez.
rocks spitting onto the sides of the cliff, while my dad's cringeworthy bluegrass blared out the speakers. I drove while my friends were in the back of that yellow and purple truck, throwing beer bottles and trash at anything remotely interesting.
Oh gosh.
Felt like I was soaring in the air with borrowed wings. But all good things have endings. A cop outside of Eagle River pulled us over after he saw us send a bottle rocket into someone's yard. What followed was a long night of talking to disappointed adults and feeling smaller than ever.
Now that's a foreign concept to me. I spent a big portion of the part of my life that they're referring to reading books. I just sat and read books forever. And yeah, no, I don't think that doing something that inherently causes somebody else pain is worthy of is worthy of celebration. Like, he talked about how alive he felt. Stealing a truck and he said something about hitting mailboxes. And, like, that's just bringing other people pain. That's just making people sad. In saying that, lost me half of my current viewers. Nah, this isn't a day where I care about numbers as much. This is a day where I just vibe. Tomorrow I'll care about numbers. I mean, it's a collab day. I always care about numbers on collab days. But, yeah. That's a foreign concept to me. The idea that somehow bringing something that brings misery to others or that brings destruction to the world is somehow enviable or fulfilling. But, well, that's just my life experience. And I can only live my own life. And I'm, glad I'm living my life. I'm pretty happy with my life, it must be said. Oh, it's beautiful. Waterfalls are beautiful. I love waterfalls so much. Oh, people came back. I think it might have just been a bug. Maybe that was just a bug in YouTube. But I just went, okay. Welcome back, friends. For a moment it dropped from 7 concurrents down to 3, and I was like, oh, well, people didn't like that statement. But that's fine. I'm just me. At the end of the day...
After he drove me home from the police station, I blew up at him, saying how I never wanted to be like him, how I was going to be someone and leave that hick icebox for good. He just looked forward at the road with tired eyes. I took out that bluegrass tape from the cassette deck and chucked it out the window. In my sage teenage wisdom, I thought I proved the ultimate point. But my dad had a different idea. He slammed the brakes, slowly bowed his head while gripping the steering wheel, and finally looked at me. All he said, like it was a polite request, was, "Make this right." I sat there in silence, fuming, but I eventually got out and combed every square inch of the woods, muttering profanity after profanity. I found it 30 minutes later, near a small waterfall off the road. I went back to the truck, put the wet tape back in, and sure enough it worked. We didn't speak another word to each other the rest of the night.
Wow, I knew you were a crazy teenager, but...
It's hard to believe, isn't it? It surprises me too. It's like I didn't really know who that kid was back then. I bet my dad thought the same thing over and over. It's almost like he was saying, "Make this right," to himself, more than to me.
That could be. That could be. Apparently there's a stream for you to learn about my childhood as well. And the narrator's childhood. Well, I hope I do not disappoint you. Nope, that's not the way. How do I get up there? I want to see what's up there. Oh, is that the truck? Is that just... okay, that's the pickup truck. Okay, I won't worry too much about it. That's... doesn't look like there's a story beat up there, so I can let it be. Something all the way out in that corner, but I'm more interested in the waterfall. The waterfall actually has a bit of bass to it. Neat. Oh, I love waterfalls. Oh, there's another purple up there. I didn't need to bring this one all the way here. But I did. Yum. Oh, so I can catch that in midair. Maybe. What is that? Okay, let's just try running behind the waterfall, just for good old-fashioned game logic. Nope. Every waterfall hides a secret. Sometimes that secret is the belief of the secret. The secret can be the belief that there is a secret, which in itself ascribes meaning to you. I mean, in real life. I mean, obviously this waterfall didn't have a mechanical secret into it, but that doesn't mean... it doesn't seem to do much. That's okay. I spent a lot of my childhood reading books. I told a story during my debut stream of... I think I told that story. Of reading a book while walking through the woods and getting horribly lost and having to find my way out of the woods and actually becoming better at tracking, and running and pathfinding because of it. And yeah, no, that's a completely true story. Let me put this in perspective. I brought some of my books to the clothing store if I was going to buy pants or a jacket to make sure that my books would fit in the pockets. Because if they didn't, I wasn't buying that. That's as simple as it was. If I couldn't fit a book in the pocket, then the jacket was not for me. In fact, if I couldn't fit a book in the pocket, I don't understand why anybody would want that jacket. Oh, I can stack butterflies. Okay, I see what they're telling me. Thank you for telling me again. I appreciate it. Okay, so I just need to collect... I need to collect that one first, then I can collect that one. The icon showed 3, but I don't think there's 3 butterflies around here, is there? There's 1, 2. That we've seen, at least. I don't know if chat's still working. I haven't seen anything said in a while. Maybe you guys are just relaxing and taking it in. And if that's the case, good. Oh, there's the third one. Oh, I missed that. Alright, we are double butterflies. I've had a very real week, haven't I? I ended up saying a bunch of stuff about myself during Soma as well, just because I was genuinely nervous and that was just helping me process.
My friends would laugh about that night and talk about how crazy it was, and I laughed along, pretending it didn't bother me. But it did. I imagined my friends growing old in the bush, unable to find that thrill in those godforsaken ice fields. It's like those mountains were a literal wall, keeping me from leaving, where all I would have to look forward to are lumber yards and evening beers. I had to climb over. That was my only goal for a long time.
These butterflies are flying backwards, I just realized that. Or some of them are. To me, mountains have always represented joy, I suppose. And interesting that for me, the mountains represent... Oh. Okay. It's interesting that for me, mountains have represented freedom in a way that they represent confinement to this, to the narrator. For me, mountains represent an escape from, well, the human world of parking lots.
If
and
there was some
cars.
way I could take my love of drawing and turn it into a way of escape, nothing would make me happier. I wanted to create instead of tearing trees down. I wanted to move to the lower 48, not because I hated it there in Alaska, but I hated the idea of it. It's like all of that spite inside me had created this monster which followed me around my whole teenage years. I put so much energy into doing what others didn't expect of me. Why did I do that?
There's one fact you're forgetting, though. If you didn't have that fire in you, we probably would have never met.
You're absolutely right. Maybe the destination is all that matters in the end. But Then why am I awake? Why am I seeing this fox go on her journey? And why can't I stop thinking about my dad?
So what is the fox's journey? It... Yeah, lashing out at that world around you because things aren't as you'd hoped is something that everybody goes through, but the way that people go through it is really what defines who you are as a person, right? I see that, but I'm going towards the tree first. I see that as well, and I will check that out. But I want to go to the tree first. Now, actually there's an interesting question. Are those side paths distractions? Or are those side paths the real game, and chasing a single straightforward path doggedly might be a mistake? But we're here.
Even at my most distant, at the times when I detested him the most, he kept reaching out. For a year straight, he asked me every week when we were going camping. I thought he was just dense. Eventually, to shut him up, I agreed. We carried out the worn lawn chairs from the garage and set up a cinder block campfire at the site we'd always used behind the house. We walked down the mountain path, talking in the warm sunshine we only got a couple months of the year. Those 3 obsidian rocks shimmered alongside the shore, almost like sparklers pressed against a dark window. I'll never forget that wet stone on my feet, or how those massive mountains looked even bigger in the lake's reflection. I felt small, but grateful. As the sun set, my dad found something I hadn't seen for a long time. The tree where I'd made my first carving when I was 6. I hadn't even carved it. My dad had helped me, but I still called it my tree. Something about seeing my name there made me open up, and we talked about everything that night in that old camouflage tent. I told him how much I loved sketching and design, and how it would be a dream to study architecture in Seattle. I told him how I didn't get along with my friends much anymore, but that I didn't mind being alone. He told me he was there for me, and he joked that if all he had to do was write my name on a tree to finally get me to talk, he would have left me carved logs with novels on them in front of my room every morning. I don't know why it took me that long to realize it, but it was then I knew how much he had sacrificed for me.
Fishing boat. What a beautiful and important moment. I see stuff over there. There was something close though, wasn't there not? No? I suppose not. We should be linking up with another path soon, though. Maybe not. Well, maybe every way we go is the path, right? I mean, there's no way that we can go that isn't the path, because this is the way that we're going. Therefore, it's our path. Whatever way you take will be your path. I can't gainsay that. I can't tell you that you're wrong. Well, I can, but I won't. No, your path is your path. And I hope it fills you with joy, in whatever direction that joy may lead. So what big question. And now I just assume that they're not going to bring it up until the very end. Is what happened? Where is his father? Is he just in Washington, where his father is in Alaska? It's interesting how little of a barrier that would be nowadays in the modern era. Like, you could be anywhere in the world. Ooh, that looks like barren. Ooh, Deadlands. We'll explore that, but after we have another entire side of this map to explore. There we are. Let's check over this nook. I thought I saw some. Yes, I definitely see something, but what is it? Is that the fishing boat up there, perhaps? And this would be... Ah, a gate, a no trespassing gate. Used to ride my bike through power line trails. Just, you know, long trails that were designed just entirely for utility. That had tons of rocks, tons of hills and bits, because they were never meant to be traversed by anybody who wasn't in a utility vehicle. And they were the best bike trails because they were unpredictable, because they weren't on flat pavement. That made them more valuable.
We were happiest underneath the evergreens. We decided it was time to finally map out the hundreds of acres we lived on, just to pass the time during the summer. He was only free in the evenings, so I would spend the day wasting time on dial-up internet and sketching, and then we would rush into the woods, pen and map in hand, before evening fell. Sometimes, the aurora borealis would cast a cold green glow on the mountainside, and we would finish our route underneath a twilight sky. Sometimes I was lonely during those summer days, but there was comfort in the routine.
A lot of teenagers aren't looking for the daily grind, though. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get out, to leave your childhood home. You wanted to progress, to make something of yourself.
Yeah, you're right. That house. I'm sure it's the same as how I left it. Then why does it feel so different?
I doubt you're the only adult to have looked back and asked that question.
Because you're a different person. It means something different to you now as an adult as it did as a child, right? And we'll go explore the Badlands while we're here. But yeah. Things have different meaning as an adult as they do as a child. Sometimes a neat rock can still fill your heart with joy. But sometimes you look past it because, well, you've seen neat rocks before. What makes this rock different? What makes this rock special? Why should I care about this rock? Well, you care about that rock because it's a rock. And isn't that a good enough reason? And if it's not, you have to ask yourself, why isn't that a good enough reason? What else could be done to make it a better reason? Are you missing out on something more important, or are you missing out on what actually is important because something else was because somebody told you that something else was more important? Can't get over there yet. You know, I did that Bloodborne ASMR stream, and I did that entirely as a meme. But this, I feel, is more of the wholesome, relaxing energy of an ASMR stream than the Bloodborne was. That was mostly just me reading item descriptions and memeing about being in ASMR for an hour. But this is the real comforting stream. It's wholesome hours. Don't deny wholesome hours. Can't. Wholesome hours love you. And wholesome hours are here for you. Last time I just left clicked until it worked. That same thing here. Just left click a bunch and it'll find you. Nothing to worry about, nothing to fret over. Just finding what's important to us. And finding what's important to us at the moment. Sometimes you chase your life's importance, sometimes you chase the moment's importance, and both, well, both have exactly as much importance as you attribute to them, right? If your moment's importance of the day-to-day, it brings you more, then there's no shame in living day-to-day and just doing what you can, just, you know, move forward and survive with what you can do. If you feel a need to create something that will go beyond that, well then you should. But if you believe that in the little things in life and smelling flowers and finding cool rocks, don't forget to do that, even when the world tells you that a more productive lifestyle might be more important. And if your goal in life is to create a legacy, is to create a project, create something exciting and interesting, then don't let the moment-to-moment worries that you have, the little brief moments of concern, distract you from your grand task, from something that, well, you will rightly believe is your greater goal. Either way, you know yourself, you know what you want, and you know what will bring peace and joy to your heart. Find that. Find that and embrace it. You'll have to do some of both. You'll have to live your life. You'll have to, you know, do both sides of that. But if you can find out which one is most important to you, maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to find that balance that lets you live your life and lets you fulfill your life. And again, in whatever definition that might have for you. I'm gonna go all the way to the far side. There's another thing in there, but I want to go through the woods. I think the other thing is through another way, is further in that Wasteland Barrens area. And that, well, that didn't bring me as much joy as running through undergrowth, ignoring paths and riding between trees. Oh, now we're back to the main path. Oh, fancy that. That's fine. We'll follow it for a few moments until, well, we'll follow the main path just long enough until it gets boring, and we'll strike off on our own again. Because that's how I live my life. There's no point. The path that others have laid out for you is rarely the path that I wish to take. Heck, if I was one to follow the path laid out for me, I wouldn't be doing this, would I? This is my passion, in a sense. Not the same type of passion as... Well, no, I take it back. This is the same type of passion as an artist, for me. This is just the form that it takes. In my life. And you'll have whatever brings you joy in your life. And hopefully it brings joy not just to yourself, but to those around you. Hopefully you can attain that. There's my natural instinct again. Ooh, there's another campsite. I realize now that that's not a flattened tent. It's a tent that's isn't fully set up yet. that's a tent that's been laid out before they put in the support structure. A tent that's been laid out just before they put in the support structure. Not unlike the author. Not unlike a child who needs the support structure so they can become, you know... The other three. Ah. What a delight. Okay, now we'll wander more towards that sun. We got 3 out of 3. So we got everything that we need, I guess. And I feel like now is when we were supposed to go to the tree. There wasn't another digging spot there that I saw. Maybe, oh, this must be it down there. That's the digging spot on this side of the map. So we can learn more. And learning isn't very important. Good choice in music, too. What is this? What have we here? Is this a barn? A shed? A barn? It looks like it's a barn. Yeah. Can we see anything inside? We can. Can't quite make out what they are, but the inside is completed. Put that in the back of your mind for now.
On our property, there were old abandoned pieces of a shed and car long left unused.
Sip a car.
I used to ask him all the time who those people were that left all this junk. And I'm sure he got so tired of hearing it that he made up some elaborate stories how a brown bear ate them and haunted the woods afterwards. What's funny is I think it made those people seem more real. Growing up thinking they were still hanging out like they couldn't say goodbye. I used to tell my friends how I could swear I saw spirits move near the water, and that always freaked them out. I guess it didn't bother me, because the way I saw it, they were normal people with old cars and sheds, just trying to figure out how to survive and be happy in the middle of nowhere. It was a cool thought that they didn't want to leave, but you know, I was a weird kid.
Well, you had good company since those ghosts liked living in a place where they were brutally devoured.
We've already kind of already checked it. Let us acquire these dots. We don't know why we need the dots, but we want the dots, and, well, just like the rocks for show and tell. That's a good enough reason. Being in the middle of nowhere has its advantages, though. You can avoid some of the pressure. Not all of it. There's always pressure in some form. But it's a different type of pressure. One that maybe, just maybe, might be easier to work with for some people. What is... Okay. This is whatever barrier was holding him back from leaving, isn't it? This is whatever barrier was keeping him in a place that did not bring him joy. That's something that we've explored now and can move past. And that's another creature.
The perpetrator stood nearby, unfazed, like nothing was wrong. My dad is dead.
What?
And he's never coming back, Rachel. I can tell you these stories, but I can never reminisce with him again. He can never hold a grandchild that we'll probably never be able to have. I can never talk to him again, and I'll never be able to say I'm sorry. For everything.
Before, Rachel said that we would see him again. Oh. it's a wolf. So have we lost a child? Looks like from a wolf that got into our burrow. Come back. These are not core to the game, I don't think. I don't need to collect all of these. I don't think anything is really going to come of collecting all of these. I don't think it'll change the ending. I don't think it'll bring back our cubs. But for one brief moment, we can revel in the thought that maybe it would. This didn't seem like... okay. The theme seems to this to be to run forward, to slide down this hill. I'm surprised that there were a hidden bit there. Stunning beauty. I have only been to Alaska once, but everything I saw there was a delight. But I didn't grow up there. I didn't experience what this person experienced. I couldn't have, right? So there's no way that my experience of Alaska could match this person's. Or this person's experience of where I grew up could never match. But we are all experiencing this dry distance together. We're all experiencing the foliage popping together, and that's what really counts. Sorry if commentary's getting slower now. It's just calming and beautiful and comforting. I'm just taking it in. So, the dreamer's father has passed away, yes? That makes more sense with everything that we've been hearing. From the very beginning, one of the earlier things was Rachel saying, but you'll see him again. Is that referring to heaven? I took that to mean that they were just away on something difficult, on something that would return. But no, he's passed.
I need to go to bed. I just can't talk about this anymore. Good night.
That's fair. Sometimes you need to unplug. Sometimes you need to step away. And sometimes it's important to find a way to step away. Because, well, a way out, a way to peacefulness, a way to something that will relax you and bring you peace is not always given to you. In fact, it rarely is. It's much more common that you need to find it. And how difficult it is to find what gives you peace, well, that'll vary from person to person because what gives everyone peace is different. But I can't tell you what will bring you peace. And anybody who tells you what will bring you peace is selling you something. But if you can move past that, if you can find what brings you peace and find a way to embrace it, well, maybe you'll find it. Maybe you'll find peace.
Joseph, you can't go to sleep feeling like this. I'm sorry for everything, and I know you need space, but I'm here for you. You don't need to feel so lost.
The area
Joseph,
behind us have gone away.
have I ever told you what my mother was like?
Oh, now we learn about Rachel. Oh! Hello. Are you a fawn? So Joseph saw his father as a wolf, but we see, Rachel sees her mother as a fawn.
You know what it's like not to have a mom at home. And you
we
know
do?
how hard that made my childhood. What helped me was watching the birds in the morning before the school bus came. I thought that my mother was one of those birds, and it made me want to be free like her. My mom taught me how to fold origami cranes while she was in the hospital. So I told myself I would fold one every day until I could fly myself.
After 1,000,
I
your
think we
wish is
both
supposed to
have
come true.
always loved animals, and for me that love started with a dog. Sometimes this Rottweiler would come up to our property line and wait at the fence for me, but only once in a while. I was sure to check every day immediately after school, and it usually ended in disappointment. I would even steal money from my passed-out dad just so I could buy these off-brand dog biscuits. Even when she did stop by, she never went beyond the fence. Why was she so scared? I think my dad was the opposite of your dad in almost every way, except he was in the military as well. He coped with alcohol of every kind. The trailer started falling apart, he got angry, and I withdrew. More and more I became the weird, quiet kid who made lots of origami birds and carried dog biscuits around.
Nothing wrong
I
with
think we were pretty similar when it came to being the weird kids. And that same sincerity in college was one of the reasons I was so drawn to you. Life got worse and worse, and at one point, I really didn't think I could survive another day with my soul still intact. I had no real friends, let alone neighbors, since we lived in the middle of nowhere. I should have talked to my teacher, but I was scared what he would do if he found out. As I waited for the school bus one morning, I walked around until I found something in an abandoned shed. Something I can't put into words. I summoned courage I didn't know I had, and I broke into my dad's room and found the key to the shed where he had locked my bike. I'll never forget that feeling. The wind rushing by my ears as the sun rose over fields of wheat. I was flying for the first time. I biked as far as my legs could take me until I found a house that felt friendly, and that felt like home. Those strangers helped me in so many ways. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have found my foster family. And if it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't have met you. You have strength, Joseph, and you're not as alone as you think.
It's all just so pointless. Just waiting for life to happen. It's like having the home I always wanted is cursed out of my reach. The thought of being a parent myself. How could I do that when I couldn't even be a good son? I'm sorry. I know what you're saying. I just don't know how things will work out. These quiet hours will turn into years. We'll wonder which roads passed us by.
Then we'll forge a new road together. Besides, I discovered for myself that one fateful morning where any hopeful road leads to. There may be thorns in this, but it always leads to the same thing.
Where?
And what's that?
Family.
I'm so glad that you're part of my family, Rachel.
And I'm
I would
glad
like-
you're part of mine.
I will take a wonderful moment here to remind the audience that family is who you wish to be with, who you want to be with, who you care for, and who you trust. Your family does not need to be who you were born into. It does not need to be who you feel obligation to. Your family is who you love. And yes, family is important, but not necessarily blood. Family, like a fox in a doe, I guess. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And yeah, push forward. There is something ahead of you to attain. I don't know what it is. You don't know what it is. Well, maybe you do. But find that thing that brings you happiness. Come on. We have 97 of these. I feel like we've reached the narrative apex of the story, right? It's him beginning to accept his... to accept what he has. In some fashion, at least. Or to accept for what's ahead of him rather than behind. Though, like I said before, you don't want to lose what you had behind. You want to... that made you you, and that means it's valuable. Because you're valuable. So whatever made you you is also valuable. Ah, platforming. We don't actually need the double jump. I guess we do for some of it. Oh, maybe not. Ah, no. Okay. I hope you guys are enjoying this little peaceful journey. It's meditative. It's calming.
The fox knew her last cub would be waiting for her at the first tree.
Oh.
She was almost there. The rain cascaded onto the Jade Valley where the entrance to the tree was. Life was protected there, because that's where life began.
Oh.
It was now only a mother and a daughter left. Items from my life still dotted the ground as she moved closer to her destination. And destiny.
I will have to say my initial read of the Jungian analysis of this game definitely seems to be the correct one. I just made that as an offhand comment about dreams at the beginning of the stream. And, well, we're here. At me on Twitter with your favorite historical psychologist. Gosh, I kind of can't wait till I'm big enough to actually say that and have people respond. Like, I'm really looking forward to having enough of an audience, and honestly, I'm kind of cultivating a highbrow audience anyways, with actually focusing on analysis and focused and all the stuff that I do. So I am actually genuinely looking forward to the time where I can say, hey, yo, pop off for your favorite historical psychologist. But like, I mean, isn't that kind of great though? But I'm on my way. I'm doing well. I feel really good about my progress as a streamer. I mean, I have enough of a background in other things that...
At the end of high school, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Drive. I looked into the best architecture schools on the West Coast, then got a dose of reality when looking at other students' portfolios and the high cost of tuition. I still wanted to be something, to be the next Alvaro Siza, and to make those thousands of sketches worth something in my grand history.
It can be worth something.
Now even an internship sounds impossible. Siza helped me understand how essential emotion is in architecture. And he also said light is the real composer of space. I like to think these glints of light, like not finding a job or even a strange dream about a fox, are something I should be thankful for. Even if the illuminated space is something I'm less than comfortable with.
But yeah, I'm proud of myself. And I have to say, a decent amount of the things that I've been saying about passion and finding something that brings you peace and joy is why I'm here. And, well, hope maybe, somehow, that's why you're watching me. Anybody who says Freud is getting the side eye. Well, yeah. Freud walked so that Jung could fly. That's my 2 cents on there. You couldn't have had Jung without Freud. Though I am not the biggest fan of Freud. We have a better foundation because of his work. That's my take. That's my nice thing about Sigmund Freud today. I'll mark that off on my checklist. Well, we've already completed the emotional arc of the character of the dreamer in a lot of ways. Now we're just getting almost more history. We've I don't know how much more to go, but we're definitely finishing this game.
My dad was super supportive with my college plans.
Oh, good.
To a point.
Good point.
Things were okay until this terrible accident happened. I guess a forklift flipped over due to a bad axle, and it crushed one of the workers there. My dad didn't eat for days, even though he wasn't directly involved. It devastated him. Not only did it hurt the business, but it just freaked him out.
Yeah.
He would talk in his sleep, muttering things about firing people and saying sorry. One fateful day he approached me, said that since my school search wasn't going well, I should finally be a man and take over the family business. He said one day he was going to die, and that all of his work, sacrifice, and even that man's life would be wasted in vain. I just lost it. Teenage me just exploded at the thought. I screwed up. I said things I shouldn't have. He was having a crisis, and I pretty much spit in his face. We have a human settlement up there. I assume that's actually the logging lumber mill. But I want to go this way first. I see where I am expected to go, and I run in the opposite direction. That's fine.
My path can still be valid. Like the rocks I brought to show and tell, my path can be meaningful to me. And if you're watching this and enjoying it, then somehow, in some way, my path is meaningful to you. And well, I guess that's part of the life of an actor, right? Is that, what, if I can bring meaning to somebody else's life, that act brings greater meaning to mine. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's meaningful to me. Therefore, it's valid in some way. More, oh, okay, more lumbering equipment, I suppose. Is that light shining over there as well? Yes, it is. We'll collect this first, then we'll start moving toward... Oh, hello. Oh, are you a path? Interesting. Where do you lead?
Was that the last time you talked to him?
No, I called on holidays.
Oh, okay.
And he would call on my birthday. I guess we acted like nothing ever happened, which was stupid. Didn't want to ask about his lumberyard, and I'm sure he didn't want to ask about my job search. I never went back and visited. I think the last conversation we had was about what movies we had seen and what exactly a best boy is in the credits. I thought he would be here so much longer.
Do I go there, or do I check out the lumber mill? I will go here. I'll go to look at the lumber mill first, because that leads away from it, and that's definitely something I want to explore. I assume that's the lumber mill. I mean, that's kind of what I mean, it would fit everything we've been hearing. The soft pitter-patter of the rain in lieu of any music or audio is a nice touch in this area. I like the soft piano track as well, but honestly, at a certain point, just the light, gentle rain can speak more. Oh, we can't even get up there, can we? Well, that's okay. We can see it and we can appreciate it. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any way up there. Oh, we have a thing over here, though. Yeah, I have no way to get to the lumber mill, but we can get to this little cottage. Hello, little cottage. Oh. I mean, this is definitely the dreamer's home, right? Beautiful place. I mean, a little bit more underground than I like my homes. Actually, that's not true. I like underground homes, but a little bit more inaccessible than I would usually prefer. I think my favorite type of house is the raised ranch. Just because, well, it's on a hill. Like, hills and mountains, like, if you have a raised ranch, you by definition are on a hill. But it also has a level of, part of the building is underground, but that part is not a basement. Like, a basement is a tomb, an enclosed location that's inaccessible, and if not, well, doesn't have the same comfort. But a basement of a raised ranch has the comfort of being underground and secure and stable, but the importance of being able to walk outside from it. Does that make sense? You know, I don't care if it makes sense or not, really. That's, you know, makes sense to me. Hello, more things. One. It's also interesting, with just a little bit of experience in Unity, I can see how almost all of this game was made. Like, all this game is actually within my skill set to create, except for the emotional part, except for the emotional resonance of it. And, well, I'm not playing the game for the gameplay. I'm playing the game for the emotional resonance. The one part that would be... Oh, hello. Oh. Hello, Wolf. Why are you like this?
In the distance, the first tree illuminated the wasteland. She couldn't go home anymore. She did the only thing she was capable of. Moving forward. My dad died alone in the middle of the wilderness. I should have been talking to him more. I should have done a lot of things differently.
You can't go back.
If the first tree on Earth brought life with it, if it taught the birds to sing and fly and showed saplings how to grow, what could it do for us?
Just keep moving forward. It's all we can do. But move forward as best you can in the way that suits your life best. Move forward in a way that's meaningful to you.
There was a letter I received yesterday from a name I didn't recognize, with a quote I can't stop thinking about. Death is not the opposite of life,
No,
but a
it's
part
a
of it.
fulfillment.
More and more, I'm realizing one important truth. Each of us have our own journey to the first tree.
Yep.
But sometimes I'm not sure I'm ready to take that first step.
You already have my love.
Isn't that enough? Death is not the opposite of life, it's the fulfillment of life. Life ends, and you need to make sure that what life you have, either by moment or by total, is one that you were proud of and one that was worth having. And again, that can mean whatever it means to anybody. There's no judgment passing on that. The first tree awakens and gently asks if there is one last message the fox wants to tell their children. She replies back and says, oh, is this actually... Oh wow, a character count is based on the number of stars. That's actually strange and interesting. Let's go with that. I have always loved you. I will always love you. I have always believed in you, and I hope that you are happy and fulfilled. Thank you, Tree of Life. Thank you.
I guess her journey was over. But I have no idea. It was only a dream. A distraction
a dream.
from tomorrow.
I don't think dreams normally bring back to memory so many important feelings. Maybe it was just a dream, but it was also a gift.
Yeah, I suppose. But tomorrow we're getting on a plane to the last place on Earth I want to be. The only person that would have made the trip worth it is gone.
You're going to see him and be with him one last time before you say goodbye.
That's what she meant.
I have one last quote for you by Emerson.
Emerson.
Sealed in an imaginary letter from me to you. It is the secret of the world that all things subsist and do not die, but only retire a little from sight and afterward return again. Go to sleep, my love. We have a big day tomorrow, but I'll be there with you every step of the way.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Good night, Rachel.
Good night, Joseph.
Good night, you two. Oh, we actually have more. Oh, I thought that was just going to be a credits moment. 6 months later. Now we are presumably Joseph. And there's Rachel. Hello, Rachel. How do you do? The camera sensitivity is much higher. Interesting. It's showing. Maybe we just need to go for a walk. I actually need to adjust the camera sensitivity down a bit. That's better. You need a coat? No. And I guess they just recreated their childhood home. Just so that they could see it and just so that they could show it to us. And again, that is in part the life of, if you'll forgive the phrase, a content creator, is putting a bit of your soul into what you do and showing it to the world. It's not destroyed in the process. In fact, it returns to you. Stronger. Because, well, stronger if it was well received. Tiny little eclectic room for a youth. Okay. We'll close the door so that Rachel can get some sleep still. And we'll take our moment here. Ora? Oh, did we move in? Did we inherit the home and move into it? Ah. Now that's actually an interesting choice. After making it very clear that there's nothing left for him here, he decides to go back to his hometown. Also, I think the camera perspective change is very interesting. Now we are in the first person. Now we are in the first person as opposed to watching the fox. Oh, hey, that kind of changed as well. And the textures are not as cel-shaded. The textures are much more realistic and stark. No trespassers. I guess we're not going that way. Where shall I go? Ah. This game kind of reminds me a little of Celeste in the sense of the storytelling of... Though Celeste is much more of a game, whereas this is just a story that you can exist with. But there's some similarities in overcoming and becoming who... Well, how your childhood grows you. Not childhood necessarily in Celeste, but the growth of life. I don't know. I like Celeste. And this just reminded me of it. Maybe it's as simple as seeing the pretty mountains and thinking of Mount Celeste. Could just be that. Matters little enough. Oh! Ah, we're going camping. I hope we left a note.
What the hell?
Did we leave a note for Rachel? Hello, pretty fox. I will follow you. I will follow you wherever you wish to take me. Gosh, this ambiance, this world. I know that the gamer instinct in me wants to pin my camera to the fox to watch it to, because that's the active target, but I can't avoid looking at such a beautiful vista. And that's actually fairly difficult to do, to take your eyes off of the locked target and just look around and appreciate life. Although I guess that goes back to what I was saying before, doesn't it? Maybe the inverse is true. Maybe some people who are lazily looking around at life need to lock onto a target once in a while. For whatever was important to them. I don't know. I'm just a weird lizard on your screen. I can't tell you things. I can barely tell you about myself. That's how I am. The sunshine plus rain is one of the best feelings in the world. To me. Hello, pretty fox. Where are we going, friend? I haven't played a lot of purely walking simulators like this before. So this was actually a pretty unique experience for me, and I gotta say, I feel pretty good. I mean, it's a different type of joy than, triumphing over a Dark Souls boss or... What a beautiful world. I mean, it's our world, right? I can't quite make out the lyrics. That's okay. In this situation, it's interesting. The draw distance of the foliage seems like it's being sprung up by the fox's hooves, or by the fox's paws. Makes it look like the plant life is coming to life around it. I respect that. Like, I think that... I mean, I don't think that was necessarily a narrative choice, but... Rather than an engine limitation, but... I don't dislike it. Ah, there's the tree, huh? The tree of life, the first tree. And also...
What is this?
Oh, is this a poem left by his father for him? On the tree where he carved his first... It's what I wrote, isn't it? Okay, it's what I wrote. Oh no, it's what somebody else wrote. Oh! I love you with all my heart. Be strong and courageous. May God go with you. This is another player's... And someone else will see my message. Well, I'm crying. A beautiful game. It really is. Yeah. Josh Kramer, I know that name somewhere. What a beautiful experience. I'm actually sitting here thinking of the best way to wipe my eyes so it's not going to interrupt the face cam. How absurd of a thought. How absurd of a thought. Ah. Hmm. Yeah, what a beautiful experience. Wow. I didn't expect that to affect me at the very end the way it did, but here I am. Well, I hope that everybody who sees this enjoyed it, and I hope that somehow maybe something that I said is meaningful to you. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. Cheers.